pistons, rods, and crank, get out of here. Alright, quick recap from episode 1. We got all of the intake manifold components removed, upper intake, lower intake, all the fuel injection components. We got both cylinder heads and all of their components removed, so both valve covers, all the push rods, everything associated with that. Now we need to get all of the pistons out because we need to make sure there's no rust pitting inside the cylinder walls. The goal is to be cheap on this one, so what I want to do is make sure that the cylinder walls are good first, and then we can put new rings on the pistons and we can put new bearings on the rods and the mains for the crankshaft. So that's the goal. Hopefully we don't have any major issues. I don't think we will. There's only one way to find out, so let's get the oil pan off and see what we have. Sometimes on the engines you can see if a connecting rod has been damaged, the bearing in it has been damaged. It'll be more of a black color. These are all pretty gold looking. Just a normal color with an oil sheen on it. Nothing looks too bad here. Of course we'll check. Also you want to make sure before you start taking anything apart, you want to make sure everything is marked as per the cylinder that it came out of. You can see on these they're stamped, so there's a 1 and a 1. That keeps your connecting rod cap lined up. 2, 3, 4, and so on. You'll have your other ones here, 8, 7, 6, 5. Also on the piston, let me just show you. I did not show you before we rolled it over, but you'll see on the piston there's a mark also showing to the front of the engine. So you can see, I don't know if you can see right here, there's a dot. Each piston has its own dot. That is signifying facing the front of the engine. So as long as you have that, and you have the markings on your connecting rods, which number they are, you should not have any issue reassembling. Some engines do not have these markings, so before you disassemble you can take your punch set and make a punch mark on it for whatever number it is, or a dot, take a punch and make however many dots. So there's ways to do it if it's not there from the factory. The pickup screen looks pretty good. I don't see anything in there, just an oil film. So we're looking good, looking really good. Okay, I'm going to show you the bearings here. So I have a little bit of concern on the bearings. You can see a spot right here where it's kind of worn through the outer shell here. It's only in one spot too. I didn't feel anything on the crank, but that is a concern once you start wearing like that. So everything else looks okay on the rod and the piston. They need cleaned up. The wrist pin was a little tight when it's at full max this way. There was some grime in there. It's already kind of worked its way out, but we were going to clean these anyways. Another issue I see is this oiling ring is stuck. There's quite a bit of carbon. My two compression rings are okay, but the oil ring is kind of tight in there. It doesn't move as free as I would like, probably because of the carbon deposits. Again, we were going to clean all that up, so I think we'll move forward here. I think we're going to end up pulling this crankshaft out, and I'll take it down to the machine shop just to see if it needs to be turned. And we'll monitor these pistons as we pull more out. So. Alright, you'll notice on these main caps also, they've got numbers and arrows. So this one's number 1, facing forward. So again, it's really hard to get these confused. Your bearings will only go in a certain way on these caps, so you should not be able to mess up the bearing installation. But that's usually how they identify their caps, so that way there's no confusion, no mix-up. Crankshaft is out. Well, there you have it. We are tore down. We did find a couple of problems, but nothing the machine shop cannot fix, and hopefully we can do it on the cheap. So I'll send the crank off, and hopefully we'll get the polish job done. I'll get all new main bearings, all new connecting rod bearings, and while we're waiting, what I'll do is try to get all this cleaned up and see if I find any more problems, and get the pistons ready. Get some new piston rings, and we'll get them file fit. I'll show a video with the file fit, but we'll get everything ready to go for when the crank comes back. So hopefully this will be a fun one on the cheap. We'll see you next time.